On today's Feel Good Frequency, I want you to think about the soldiers, the brave men and women in our country who go overseas. What do you think the one thing is that many of them regret leaving when they end up being able to come home? You're going to meet somebody who's all about these reunions, and you are going to love it.
Good vibes are on the way.
I love the feel good stories.
Oh, there'll be sarcasm mixed in, but that just adds to her charm.
So great. I love listening.
Welcome to Aaron O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, I'm Erin O'Malley. Welcome back to my Feel Good Frequency. It is wonderful to have you here. My husband was in the Navy for 26 years, and during that time, he was in Afghanistan for a year on an independent augmentation. When he was over there, there were lots of different animals that would try to come on the base. Of course, there were soldiers who would bond with these animals, and I found a woman who is part of an incredible organization that reunites these soldiers with animals that they had to leave behind in war torn areas. And when I say these are stories you will not soon forget, I mean, I am still blown away by the chat I just had. Niki Dawson is the director of animal welfare and logistics for pawsofwar.org. Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so incredible to talk about our mission and what we do.
When did Paws of War start?
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
That's so
So
nice.
we're going on year 11 and have done incredible things in that time.
Can you give just a basic of maybe somebody has never heard of Paws of War? What is your overall mission?
The overall mission is to help both ends of the leash, meaning we rescue animals and then we pair those animals with veterans, active military, and first responders. Many of them have PTSD. They need service dogs. Then we take it a step further and we provide free training for anyone that does any of those adopters that do need service dogs, and they go through our program. We go all the way up to level 5 service dog training, and it's free of charge. None of our veterans or first responders ever pay for anything, not even an adoption fee.
Where are you based? And is this something that is growing throughout the country? Can somebody across the country find you? How does that work?
So we're based on Long Island.
Mhm.
And for the most part, our adopters are in our immediate vicinity so that they have access to all of our services. We do, however, come up with the occasional adopter around the country who really needs our assistance. And if that's the case, then we'll do everything that we can to match them up with the right dog and find them training resources in their immediate area.
Now, you said that the organization has been in existence for 10 years. How long have you been with them?
I have been with this organization for about 5 years. Primarily, my role is with the War Torn program, which is my obsession, my passion. When I talk to my war torn families, I have this little shtick that I do where I always say, if you have an issue, medical, behavior, anything, a question pops into your mind. I have zero work life boundaries. You can text or call at any time, and I will happily take that call. I've been known to be, out with my friends and hearing live bands, and I get a war torn call and I run outside, and everybody knows that that's just her going to, help another
Aw.
family. Once they become part of the Paws of War family, that's it. They've got me for life. So,
Oh, I love that. Now, when you say war torn, are you getting calls from overseas or is this somebody that's local that needs your help?
so the War Torn program is any active military that bonds with an animal overseas. And that animal, as you know, they provide so much comfort and security for these service members who are thousands of miles away from home. They're in these areas where they're not safe. They may have to, get up and redeploy in a week with no notice. So when they find an animal, there are very clear restrictions. Service members are not allowed to actually engage with them, but they're compassionate. They see them. They'll leave food and water, and they want to make sure that they're safe and taken care of, and they can't imagine leaving them behind. And that's where we come in. So if they want to get this animal back to their families, we have overseas partners that will get those and then prep them for flight internationally. Then they come to New York and we deliver them all over the country to their families so that when the soldier comes home, that service member has their pet that they bonded with overseas.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. When I first read about it, I got tears in my eyes because my husband was in the Navy for 26 years and he was in Afghanistan for just over a year. And he told me about how, you're not supposed to really take care of the dogs or bond with the dogs, but so often these dogs will bond with you. They will just keep following you, and it's so hard not to help them, and then you do become attached. And he said that's the worst thing, is having to leave behind these animals that really have been your lifeline of just smiles and comfort when you are in a war-torn area, and you don't know what 1 minute to the next is going to bring. So how does that work overseas? I know you said you worked with people over there, but what is the process like?
So we have partners that will go to the bases. Of course, they can't access the base. So the soldiers, we need to that can be a little bit tricky because we don't want the service members actually touching the animals. So it can, there are a lot of logistics involved to get them to the gate. And then they go back to the holding facility overseas. And then it's because of the CDC regulations and the recent crackdowns over the last few years, it can be anywhere from, a month to get the animal home to 6 months. The adult teeth have to come in. Sometimes we have to do rabies. Many times we have to do rabies titer tests, and that takes, 30 to 45 days to get the results back. So it's very expensive. It's very time consuming. And then all along, not only do we have the soldier who is, messaging us frantically for these updates, but then we have their family who they're so desperate to have that pet that their family connected with, their dad, their son, their brother who fell in love with this pet. Now all they want is to get that animal home. So now that they can have that connection to their loved one overseas. So it's so meaningful. When I think about the families, and they become my family, not just war torn or Paws of War family. You know, they're mine when they have children. I'm Aunt Niki. I just love them all. And not only for the sacrifice that they make for our country and our safety, but for the love that they have for these animals, and how much they mean to them, how much comfort and security that they bring, especially the ones that have left pets behind. They miss them as much as they miss their kids. And it just gives a little bit of home to them.
I can't imagine a better person doing this job because you can just hear your passion bursting. It must not even feel like a job sometimes.
Well, and that's why I am available 24/7. Period. Hard stop. When the soldiers start waking up, when I'm going to sleep, if my messages go off, like I'm going to answer their message at 3 o'clock in the morning because I know how desperate they are to either say, hey, that dog has finally been contained and, we got to get him out of here. Or, we knew that the animal that they saved and is now in our care overseas was very, very sick or injured. And they just need that update so that they can keep their head straight going about their day. And so that's what I need to give to them.
There is a story, and this is how I found you, and it gave me chills from head to toe. Can you tell the story about the Army sergeant who has cancer and you gave him the greatest gift?
Do you mean my other son now? Because now he's like my kid. So Sergeant Stormy was deployed and kept having some pretty severe pain in his leg. And he's a soldier, but he's a kid. He's 20 years old. They're stoic. They don't want to admit that there's anything wrong. And he just ignored it. And finally, it became too much to be ignored. And when he sought treatment overseas, he was immediately diagnosed with a cancerous tumor.
Mm.
So he was flown home, started treatment at Walter Reed. Now, I wasn't aware of that. And so we had a flight date for the puppy that he helped save. And so I called the foster home on his application, which happened to be his mom. And I said, hey, we have a flight date for Jasmine. And I know Stormy's not going to be home until next month. And she said, oh, no, no, no. He's been home getting chemo at Walter Reed. And that just, as a mom, you try not to put yourself in that position. You don't even want to think about yourself in that position. And now we have one of our families in that,
Mhm.
having to deal with that. And so, we just stayed in touch. Jasmine came to New York. We gave her spa day and started her in training and held on to her until he was done with his chemo. And then we staged this surprise visit. And the color guard in their town escorted us to their home, and Stormy's parents and his extended family brought him outside, and we were able to surprise him with Jasmine. So it
Oh,
was one of the most incredible moments of this job. I have this family is magnificent. They are just, they're there for each other. The entire town has rallied around him. He did have surgery. We timed it so that he would be at the end of his chemo and feel a little bit better so he could spend some time with Jasmine. And he's now actually back at Walter Reed. He just started chemo again, and he'll have 7 weeks of that, and then he'll be home. In the meantime, Jasmine is continuing her training. She's working on her manners, and we're, getting her to the next level, so that the plan for Stormy is to stay in the military. So, she is just going to be his companion, but she's going to be the best trained companion animal that we can produce. So we're so excited to get him on, watch his journey to health, and then to have Jasmine forever. So
what a story. If you could describe his reaction to seeing Jasmine in that surprise moment with one or two words, what would they be?
shock. What I hear over and over again from our families is that they never really believe that it's happening. Even though we keep them, well, Stormy, we kept in the dark because we wanted to be a surprise, because we delivered Jasmine 3 days before his 21st birthday. So that was actually his
Oh,
birthday present.
best birthday present.
Yeah. But I think that our service members, they're trained to not react, to not have emotion. And so when we go and pick up their pet, I really believe that many of them don't believe that it's happening. They're like, well, okay, at least the animal's safe and off base. If it happens, it happens. But then when we actually get closer, then when we deliver that animal to their families, and sometimes the service member beats the animal home, which is just, then we can do a direct reunion, which makes us all just a puddle of tears.
I bet.
They really are just truly shocked that, oh my gosh, this is the puppy that was over there, and now she's here in my house. And we have this great picture of Stormy sitting in a chair with Jasmine on his lap, and he just has this like relieved smile that she's finally home. And it was just amazing. And of course, I talk to his mom every day, check in every day, because they've become family at this point.
I was going to say, he really is like another kid to
It's like a kid.
you.
Yep, absolutely.
And so you said that Jasmine is still in training. Is she training out of his mom's house, or does she stay with you?
We actually found a partner agency near their home, so that if Stormy's parents want to go see her, they can do that. They can just pop on over anytime. And then when her training is finished there, when Stormy's, feeling better and over his last chemo, then they'll bring her home. We want to make sure that he's nice and healthy and feeling better, because you know how chemo can just kind of knock you out. So we want him to get past that last treatment, and then she'll come home and they'll be permanently reunited.
This is so beautiful. You see so many movies about our soldiers that become close with animals. And in the movies, many times they get to take the animal home. And you hope that's the way it is in real life, and that somehow they get reunited. But the fact that you're actually out there doing this, it must make the world of difference to these brave men and women who bonded with an animal over there. And then when they're back on their homeland, they get that animal. Oh, I love that.
I just received a picture of a cat that we reunited with her service member. Gosh, I think it's been 3 or 4 years. And and she and her cat have matching Christmas outfits, matching hats. So I mean,
I don't know where that cat came from, but I am positive the cat didn't think I'd be in an outfit matching my owner.
the cat actually seemed pretty resolved. So I think she has to do this a lot. I think she wears a lot of clothes. She's got a lot of outfits. But there was just recently, in fact, the cat is now safe with another overseas partner. There's a soldier in the Middle East who she and I have become like sisters, and she never slept. never slept because the cat that she fell in love with was not safe. Many times leadership doesn't want the animals on base because they are distraction.
Mhm.
And I understand that theoretically, but that doesn't change the fact that these service members are attached and it would devastate them if anything happened. So it was a month, I think, before pest control was able to successfully trap the cat and get it to safety. And when I tell you, I was on the phone with her an hour, 2 hours every night for a month because she would just sit there and like have anxiety attacks that this cat was not going to be okay. So
Oh.
the day that she was finally trapped, it was just, I mean, a party. We screaming, crying on the phone together. It was pretty
Oh.
amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that is so powerful. I can see the actual vision of it in my head, even though I don't know the cat or her. It's just really remarkable, that picture that you paint. This organization is just so incredible. And I hope that there are more, and I hope that it spreads throughout the country because you're doing God's work, I tell you. Who started it? Was it a soldier that started it? Where did this come about?
No, our president and founder is Robert Messeri, and he saw a need, he saw a void, and he was very involved in our local law enforcement communities. And after talking to some of the current first responders and realizing many of them are veterans, that their PTSD from service, now they're in another very stressful job that can also exacerbate those symptoms. And he saw a need and a void and decided to fill it. And here we are almost 11 years later, continuing this good work, and our numbers are growing. And I know that we have, about 100 service dog training teams at any one time. And
Wow.
again, the fact that we can offer this free of charge to all of these amazing heroes is pretty incredible.
It truly is. Are there other organizations like this across the country? Because there should be.
I'm sure there are. There are times when, of course, we can't help, and we get calls from veterans around the country, and we can only do so much. And in order to make sure that the training goes well, they need to be in the area of our facility, or at least within traveling distance, so that they can take advantage of our services. So, if we want to find a similar service for someone in Florida or Ohio, we just get on the phone, and there are some other groups that do this, and they're doing amazing work as well. There are only a couple that really bring them from overseas, but as far as training, service dog training for needy veterans or for PTSD victims, that's definitely out there.
Oh, yes. I know that there are a
Yeah.
lot, and I think that they're all absolutely wonderful. You're just the only one that I know of that actually flies these animals and makes sure that they get reunited with their soldiers, and I just think that is the best.
I love it. All of these soldiers are just the gratitude that they have. One of the reunifications that we just did, it was a soldier who he's got young kids, and I think their senior cat had passed away maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and the family was devastated. And then he bonded with a cat, and then when he FaceTimed his kids every day, there's the cat in the background. So now his
Oh,
kids are attached. His mission, it wasn't so much his bond. He knew that his kids were now so attached to this cat that he had to get this cat back home to them. And so they came to the airport to get the cat, which was just amazing. And they had been waiting, and we were able to deliver that cat right before Christmas. So it was an
oh my
incredible present.
gosh, what a present.
Yeah.
Do you have a number, a tally of how many animals you have rescued and reunited with soldiers?
So I think we're up to about 600.
Whoa.
I want to say that we were around 160 last year. In some ways, it sounds like a lot. In other ways, I want to do more. I'm also very tired. The logistics involved in getting these animals all over the country is very, very challenging. So there's lots of flights and 15 and 20-hour drives, and there are restrictions as well. If we want to fly a dog across the country, if the temperature is too cold or it's too hot, we can't do it. Now we have to drive it. And I've driven plenty of dogs all the way to New Mexico and California from New York. So,
Wow.
lots of road trips and seeing the country. It's just amazing. And I take every opportunity. If I'm getting gas and people say, "Hey, who's your dog?" I say, "This is a war-torn dog and it's going to a hero in New Mexico." And here we are. Here's my card. Take a sticker because it's just everybody should know about this incredible mission.
It's just so important, and it's gotta be so rewarding. Oh my gosh. Do you even have a favorite story, a favorite reunion? Because I can't even imagine of all the ones you've done, everyone would be my favorite.
It's so hard. I mean, obviously Stormy, just because, he's now my other son. There's one particular story which isn't dramatic at all. But I delivered, it was a litter of puppies that were being delivered to a unit members in the same area in Georgia. And there was one, I get to talk to all the soldiers and their families, and I get to know them really well. And there was one soldier that just very just not emotive. These are kids. They're younger than my children. And so I don't expect a lot. And I know how boys are, and they're just not going to be emotional. And so I pulled up, and there was this 22-year-old kid who had just gotten back, and his dad was there. And his dad was talking about how much his son needed this dog. And it was really moving. And I love to see how engaged the father was and how excited he was to finally get this dog home. So, we had the dog set up, and dad went inside, and I was talking to the soldier. And again, this is someone had been very like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, just one and two word answers, not a lot of detail. And that was fine. And I started to get back in my vehicle, and he said, "Miss Niki, can you come here for a second?" And I walked back over thinking I'd forgotten something. And he gave me the biggest hug, and he started to cry, and he said, "The only thing that stopped me from ending my life was knowing that my dog was coming soon." And
Oh,
how do you wrap your mind around that? What these kids have gone through. And a lot of them are, they maybe started off in a low income neighborhood, or they didn't have a lot of resources, or maybe they had who knows what kind of life they had. And then they see an income source, they see a way of life, they join the
mhm.
military, and then they have devastating traumatic experiences while deployed, and the resources just aren't there, the mental health resources. But you know what? The dogs are.
Yeah.
And so to hear this kid who barely said two words to me through this whole process, and now he was giving me the biggest hug I've ever gotten in my life while sobbing and thanking me I'm going to get all teary. Was
I am.
uh, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a pin drop moment. That is a perfect story to explain the difference that you are making.
Yeah.
You gave him that one piece of hope that had him holding on, and then he actually tangibly got to hold the dog. That must have meant everything to him.
Yeah.
No wonder you're available 24/7, because I gotta tell you, like, I'm ready to volunteer with you. Oh my
Hey, I've
gosh.
got work for you if you want to help. It's such a blessing to be able to do this. It really, really is. It's incredible. I could ramble all night about this, but because we work with so many veterans as well, over and over and over again, we talk to these veterans who are 70, 80 years old, and they still remember the dog from 60 years ago.
Oh,
The cat that they loved that they had to leave behind, that sticks with them. And that's why we can't stop. We just have to keep going because we don't want another generation of soldiers who have to live with that regret. I've seen these men sit and cry thinking about a dog from 60 years ago.
if you've never been in this kind of environment, if you have never served this country and never been in a place that is, as you said, war torn, and you've got the brothers and sisters next to you, and then all of a sudden this innocent little animal finds its way to you, I can't imagine the bond that is just automatically formed with something that maybe reminds that person of home and of whatever they left behind. You're doing amazing work.
Oh, well, I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm just a small cog in the wheel. We're trying. We're trying so hard.
You're doing a great job.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing it. Keep doing it. They're so lucky to have found you 5 years ago too, because you are in the perfect place. I can feel your heart all the way over here. It's just you're like talking to a big hug.
Oh, thank you. I don't think my kids feel like that, but that's okay.
They never do. It takes years for
They
that
never
to
do.
come around.
Yeah. I know.
So if somebody wants to find out more information or donate, you can do that on the website?
Absolutely. It's www.pawsofwar.org. We are on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we love to promote our work and just show some of the great things that we're doing. We also, one of the other things that I do is we do puppy mill rescues. When we are able to rescue these dogs from puppy mills, not only are we saving them from those circumstances, but then those are the dogs we're adopting out to our veterans. So it's just a win-win. And if you see any of the dogs that are up for adoption on our social media pages, those are also, they came from deplorable conditions and it takes months to get them healthy enough to place for adoption. And so now not only are they saved, but then they're saving their human that we're placing them with.
Gosh, it really is helping both ends of the leash.
Exactly. Yep. Great tagline. Yep.
Is there anything else you want to make sure that people know about Paws of War?
I hate having to ask for money and donations, but that's always, that's what keeps us going as a nonprofit. We don't get any government or federal funding. As the person who also responds to all of the disasters, I would encourage everyone to have a plan in place. If you live in an area that is affected by hurricane fires, we're coming up on a year after the Pacific Palisades fire where we deployed and helped so many animals in that community. And so on our website, you can look at the our disaster information and make sure that you have your plan in place to evacuate if you need to with your pet. So I've always got to get that plug in.
That is an excellent, excellent bit of information because everybody should have that. And pets are family. Please don't leave them behind.
We
ever.
can do a whole other episode on that, on disaster
Yes,
preparedness.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
You know where
agree.
to find me.
I absolutely agree on that. But yes, I love the fact that you have that on the website as well. And I have always been bad at asking for money. That is one of the reasons I was never in sales. But I have no problem asking for donations for some place that is doing excellent work. And you are it. So, yes,
Yes, yes.
pawsofwar.org. Donations always welcome and obviously so helpful because it is not cheap to reunite these animals with their soldiers, but wow, is it worth it?
It's about $10,000 per dog.
Worth it.
It's worth it.
Thank you, Nikki. You are my kind of people. That was quite the chat. I mean, choking back tears for much of it, but just beautiful stories that I will not soon forget. Thank you again. And thank you for being part of today's Feel Good Frequency. If you are doing something to really make a difference in the world, if you know somebody who is, please let me know. I want to have you on the show. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com is my website. Easiest way to get a hold of me. AaronO'Malley'sFrequency.com. Thank you for being here. Have a great week. Bye.